Hello, and welcome to Cosmic Crap, a lousy podcast where two humans pretend to speak about the human experience. I'm Ariel. It is 7:04 in the morning, and there's not enough coffee for me in this world.
Hi, welcome back. I'm Mousa. Um, we are excited to speak with you today about uh, yoga and maybe some other random things, but we'll see how things will flow and will go.
This has been like such an interesting start for this podcast because we're battling like technology. Oh, see, I was so excited for my intro music. I thought it was going to end all cute, and I think I think it's not going to sound as great as I wanted to, but that's okay. We're learning. What was our last episode called? We'd Know Nothing. I stand by
Yes,
that still.
yes, me too, of course.
So today we in this never-ending, hopefully soon it will end, journey of figuring out like our perfect podcast flow. We're slowly chipping away at my need for like every single sentence to be mapped out before we hit record. Growth, it's fine, it's fine. So have you yoga'd this week? Have you done any podcasts, any reading? What have you been up to?
Well, I was busy working. I had a bit of stuff to do at work, so I didn't have time to actually do other things so far. Um, but hopefully in few weeks I will have more time to read and probably just to be more free to do whatever I want. Hopefully this will happen
The
in few.
dream.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I finished this week my I rest yoga nidra level 1 training,
Mhm.
which I just loved it. It was so good and so uh well presented, and the science behind it is so incredible and so fascinating. They've got two more like sort of like certification levels that I'm going to start to work my way through.
Mhm.
But I really liked it. I went back and forth for a long time because you know how I feel when like white people get their hands on things like start to ruin shit. And so I had a lot of hesitations going into this because yoga nidra is like not new, and it's really sort of unique in a lot of ways. And so I was nervous to go into something. And iRest itself, I believe, was like government funded in the US. And that further makes me nervous like about what's going to happen and what's going to, what's going to come across. But they really, the science and the study behind it was super thorough, and even putting into like my own practice, doing a little I rest specifically. I've not done a ton of yoga nidra, so I don't know like massively the difference. But that was I'm super yoga brain. I'm the opposite of you. I didn't have a single moment off of yoga things this week.
Yeah. So I guess maybe you can speak more about Yoga Nidra and from what you have seen, how is it different and to what extent is it uh, different or seen?
I
It might be
Sure.
different.
I will probably come back to this and like re-answer next podcast after I like go back and check all my answers. Um, it's a I want to say, and this is totally from personal experience, I want to say it's like a relatively extensive protocol, and they start you really small and really gentle. One of the things I really liked about it is that they like really slowly work you up to like you and I were talking about it briefly. I want to call it like enlightenment, but it's not quite right. I don't like formlessness. um I'm sure Ramdas would have like some wonderful, amazing, crazy things to say about this. So, it's guided meditation, and it goes through the different koshas, and it works with opposing emotions. The thing about it that I like that's different from just like your standard like yoga nidra is they're not giving, the teachers, me I guess now, they're not giving um things to visualize. So in yoga nidra, it's like, think of like a flame, and now think of like a forest. And what it does is it's like, here's like a scary thing and here's a positive thing. Except in that, there's a lot of assumption about like, if I'm thinking of a forest, my feeling on it is going to be different than your feeling, because we have different like experiences with forests and shit. So the thing about I rest is, um generally there's conversation, and you decide what you would like your things to be. It's almost like customized guided meditation, I guess. But it's studied for PTSD. I think primarily the beginning studies were done on like war vets and that type of brain trauma, and it's incredible. Everybody go try it. It's amazing. I love it.
Nice.
Yeah, highly
Yeah.
recommend.
Mhm.
The other big thing, I haven't talked to you so much about this, but I did a nice long, like I think it's like a 60-hour somatic therapy course. That brains are fascinating. I just every day I feel like I just scream, brains are so cool. Like I'm obsessed with brains nowadays.
Yeah, it's hard to find the right thing to, not the right, but just the most compatible and the most fitting thing to fit with each of our brains.
Mhm.
Uh, yeah, it's
Yeah,
quite
that's something I've been thinking so much about. This we talked a little bit about this last week. This There's no thing that works for everybody, which
Mhm.
is
Yeah.
great and like awesome because it leaves room for exploration, but also like I just want somebody to tell me what to do. Like tell me exactly what's going to work, and that's what I want to start with.
Yeah, that that would be very convenient, extremely convenient, if just someone tells us what exactly we can do, and then everything will be solved, everything will be done, and then we live peacefully, yeah,
World
forever.
peace, and then we've fixed everything. We just solved all the world's problems just right now.
Yeah, that would
So,
be amazing, I think.
so as I'm doing all of this study, I'm only about 2 weeks away from opening my little private yoga studio, and I'm like crippled with like self doubt and nervousness, obviously, but also I'm very excited. And so I'm sitting down and I'm doing my little like bye, I'm having to learn all of these like back end stuff, like how do you market yourself, how do I like describe who I am and what I do, and I hate it. This sucks so bad. The thing I was doing last night was writing my bio, and they have you do like a timeline of like your history with yoga, and I'm thinking back like, oh my god, where did I start yoga? I started with Bikram yoga. What?
Ah,
Like I haven't thought about that in so long, and I wrote it down last night, and I was like, oh, that's, man, unfortunate.
I mean, it was quite famous, and I think everybody was part of it, at least in the West Coast, because of, I mean, he was there, person, and yeah, it's nobody knew uh, anything at the time, and people just felt good, and why not doing it if you still feel good? It's plausible thing to say, I guess. And yeah, yeah, but then afterward things happened, and things started to unfold. But yeah, I would just like to say that this does not necessarily mean the practice itself is bad, or just because the person who made it famous turns out to be. And he was not the first person who started this anyways. He just the first person who became famous. But the practice is old, and many yogis do it for at least a couple of centuries anyways. The heat and all that kind of stuff. So, but the West, or the people in the West, didn't really didn't become exposed to it until someone went there and showed them, and called it after himself, and made it as a practice and a technique, and then things. But it's all the practice, and many people also do it before him anyways. So it's okay, I guess. So I think it's better to describe the practice rather than just saying this is like the yoga of that person or this person, because it might add something to it that is not part of it. So I think if I say, oh, this is Oshi stuff, or this is from this person, and this comes from that person, we will be busy thinking about the person who either made it up, or actually made it famous, or whatever, and forget about the practice itself. I think, but many things happened in that area anyway. Many scandals and many stuff.
Scandals is such a very polite way to put it. Yes.
Yeah, well, yeah. Many
As
other, he hurt people, so this is really serious thing. I'm not trying to undermine it, but so hurting others in any form, of course, this is not
really
this is a
an
serious
embodiment of yoga, that guy.
Hmm?
Not really. It doesn't really embody yoga quite like I would.
No. Many people vegetarian to stop harming animals. So this is a yogic principle.
Yeah, I'm trying really hard to not turn this into just like an anti-Bikram show, because that is not the plan for today. See,
Nope.
this is what happens when we don't have a plan. I get caught on these little things, and then we go.
Yeah. Sure, right. Sure.
As I was sitting down and I'm like mapping out my like journey through yoga and the experiences I had, I think the bulk, the front end of my experience in yoga was in New York City, which I think probably pretty heavily influenced what I was learning and what I thought yoga was in the beginning. And I'm thinking back to these Bikram classes that I did, and they were horrible. And people get benefit from them. So I don't mean to say that there is no benefit in doing that particular practice, because there is. It is not, though, trauma informed. It's not accessible. It's not for the faint of heart. And even then, even being new to yoga, like I remember there was, this is so embarrassing. I've been a teacher for so long. I don't know the name of this pose. You lay on your stomach, and I think you like clasp your hands like underneath you, and then you flip. Is it scorpion? You flip your like feet up to your head. We were doing that because that is one of the poses that you do every time. And I remember just like looking around, like, I'm not. That's a no. That's a big no from me, ma'am. And the teacher called me out by name. She said, "Ariel, what's wrong?" And I'm looking around like, like, I don't want to do this. Do you see these people? That's what's wrong. And I every time something went horribly wrong, it was for some reason the room was carpeted, which is disgusting in a hot yoga studio. Why would you do that? And yet I kept going back, and I continued this exploration into yoga, and it's gotten me to like I feel like I'm home in my little like yoga exploration now. And even in the midst of like total like yoga horror, there was still something that was like, you know what, I think there's something here. And I'm glad I stuck with it, and I'm so glad that that was it with that one studio, and I moved on to the next terrible studio.
I think there's so many people who are fixated on the specific methods and the specific techniques, and yeah, it's just it doesn't make any sense to me. I have never gone to any yogic practice, and I have never practiced it with anyone for any purpose. It somehow feels to me it's like running or lifting weights, or it's just you're doing something for your own body, which is not wrong. That's actually very good, assuming the person does not hurt themselves. But having one thing for all, it's just doesn't hit me as right.
Mhm.
The one technique for all the students, just yeah, well, I don't know. I mean, we even don't have the same bodies. Like
Mhm.
we have different types of bodies, and we have different we have different everything, pretty much. How can you have one method for all? It's just, yeah, I don't know.
That's where it got really sticky for me. It's I actually didn't know that you've never done like an asana practice in a studio. That's really like I'm that's really cool, I think, because looking back on all the shit that I like journeyed through to get here, I was so harmed by being in studios because I think it's a little bit different Europe versus the US. But several years ago, I had like another yoga podcast, and I interviewed several people from Europe, and it sounds like the vibe is pretty much the same. It's hyper competitive. It's super fat phobic. Depending on what studio you go to, there were many instances where we would do like a sun salutation or something, and my shirt would get flipped up, and so I just pop my shirt down because I'm in a class with other people. I don't want like my stomach out. And I have this memory of a teacher being like, "You shouldn't fidget." Like the control that not only are we being given a bunch of postures that maybe don't work for us with no indication how to adjust them to work for our body, but it was also a heavy control over every single movement. And there was no option to sit in child's pose. If you needed a break, you couldn't sit down. Like in that example I gave before, there are times where I sat down because I know my body and I need to fucking rest because it's 102 degrees Fahrenheit in here. And to be called out, it's really good. It's really good that you've never done a class in studio, because it's the potential for harm is so high, and that sucks. And it is 1,000% the reason that I teach the way that I do now, because I can't teach to 3 or more people and give them, because there has to be conversation. There has to be like hey, if it took 6 years for a teacher to ever tell me to adjust something to fit my body, because the idea here, and probably other places, other Western places, it's this idea of this is what the pose is supposed to look like, so you are not doing it right until you look like this, which is just so dumb.
I don't know why people are so fixated on certain asana postures. And
Because it looks so good on my Instagram.
Valid reason. Fair enough. But I mean, there is hundreds of yogic methods without asanas at all. Um, it's just, I don't know why people do yoga in the first place. I am not questioning the benefits, but it's just, I see it from a different point, that I claim that many people are not clear on why they are doing it. They do it just because they heard it's good or whatever reason. So they will gain all, or they will reap the benefits for their bodies, which is not the purpose of yoga actually in the first place. I mean, yoga is so mythological that the modern 21st century people won't accept many things that yoga actually claim to actually say. Like, there is a certain level of energies in the body, and asanas are just being done to smooth the flow of chakra or the energy in the body. That's just too much for many people. Um, for me, those stuff are a bit. I am not. I think I am somehow agnostic. It doesn't matter to me if it's true or not. It doesn't make any difference. But it's just, I want to mention that the purpose of asanas is to smooth the chakra in the body, so that the joints and um, all the places that seem not moving right, they should be. So it's somehow a preparation for the body before doing the work. So yeah, it's and based on that, we have to see our bodies, like where I feel there's something that needs to be worked on. So people try to do many postures, so many that it can cover all their bodies, so that they can discover and feel which parts feel more like I would like to work more on that. Or that joint is actually pretty good. I don't feel that I need to do anything further with it, so I can focus on this. So it is very personalized. And so I would say this is more of a purpose-oriented way, not just, oh, I need to do these 10 postures in those ways, in that order, for this amount of time. For all people, this is just, yeah, it doesn't make any sense. So I would say the first thing is to feel the body, to know which parts you feel it needs more work, which parts do not, and then we go further. But I claim that many people, predominantly in the West, they don't do it from that perspective. I am not saying this is the right one, but I'm just saying this is the real one. Like, The real, I mean, that is how the yogis started to think about it. But if one person wants to do it for other purposes, of course, I mean, there's no right or wrong. But I'm just trying to emphasize the uh, the primary reason, or the old one, or the one the people who started to do it at the first place, why they actually did it. But it has also other benefits beyond what's so called the energy of the body. So it can also help with other stuff, for sure.
Yeah, there's definitely benefit to it, and I think as long as we've spent time saying you can't have a single practice that works for everybody, there is some form of yoga that will work for everybody, because it's super varied. It is not what it is portrayed as in the West. In a lot of instances, yeah, asana is important. Moving your body, having joints that are maintained, like, it's all important. And if somebody thinks that yoga is asana, period, you're just missing out on so much. There's so many benefits. And you sort of alluded to this earlier. I'm like you. I don't need to like know all of the science and all of the stuff to know that it's good and it's beneficial for me. There are some people that do, and I think that there's more and more science backing this stuff. Like iRest, for example, is like, man, they really put a lot of money into that shit. But I don't need that to know that if I sit down and I think about, even if I'm not moving, if I sit down and I'm thinking about, where do I feel my body? Do I have a mind-body connection at all? Do I have body awareness? Do I have spatial awareness? That in itself is really important, and we're almost discouraged from that, from like being aware of our body. It's more what we're pushed to do is this, well, your body doesn't look right, therefore you should do hot yoga because skinny people do hot yoga. I'm like, okay, that's not just not helpful for anybody. And that's all the messaging is here. It's really
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
So I'm curious, how much of your personal practice is asana, if any at all?
I would say if I do yoga, it will be no more than 20%. It's because I don't have a strong fund of the energy of the body, and the types of energy, and the chakra points, and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, and I feel the breathing is more of important aspect to me than asanas. Yeah, but I think there's also many other ways to yoga without doing anything that is physical at all. So yeah, I guess I don't have so much of a focus on the physiological part a lot, because it's just a prerequisite to do something else. But I don't feel I need any prerequisite. I don't need, for some person, and here I am referring to the old yogis, the people who started actually doing this, to tell me, oh, so this is the method, and we have hundreds of variations, and you just choose what fits you in order to reach samadhi, and you will be free. It's a prescription that is written by a doctor to take some medicine to be well and to not, yeah, to be disease free and stuff. But uh, 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 and how did you come up with it? So you actually started from somewhere where you wanted to go somewhere else, where you wanted to do something else, or maybe you just happened to do something without intention, like you did it naturally, and then you came up with the method yoga. Hey, this is the way. And then you happen to be the first yogi ever in human history. Now we have to follow you. So it's like the Buddha. And yeah, um it's somehow complicated. Yoga is very beneficial for so many people, um, but it's very trappy. I'm not sure if
Yeah.
that's a word even. So it's like we get so busy about thinking. We got so busy uh, and occupied thinking about and planning the method, and to be what, to do what, to maybe get rid of something or to acquire something. So it's a pretty much like any other thing people chase. I don't see any difference. So if someone wants to accumulate wealth, there's not much of a difference, I think, between yoga and between doing yoga in that way and having a lot of money. And there's nothing wrong with either. It's like any other thing that people want. Um, so samadhi, or the like being free, or whatever people want to call it, um, how would someone actually get it? Through following something else rather than you. um it's like someone came to me and tells me, hey, you are in prison now, you have to follow me for all of your life, I will save you. And then he or she gets me out of my cell, and then I'm free, but I have to follow the person. So I'm somehow free, but I'm still following something, which is not necessarily bad, of course. But how is it any different? You just substituted something by something else. That's it. Um, yeah, I think, yeah, but here, but yeah, I don't want to demonize anything at all. Yoga is actually pretty good for so many people, but I'm just trying to question the perspective, or to
Hmm.
probably rethink about it. From what point would someone actually do yoga, or anything else for that matter? Or someone will just follow a Buddhist tradition, or Zen, or any other thing that people follow. Um, eh, because certainly the people who started all of these, they had nothing before. So somehow those are the things that uh, worked well for them, and now we have to follow them. So it's like a religion somehow, but just without the rituals, without the uh, afterlife part. But it's at the core, it feels like it. Yeah, they share the same basic idea, just the basic idea of someone came to us and they have something and they want us to follow it. And yeah, this is just what the Buddha said, or what he actually did. He wanted to be free. He gave up everything. He followed people for years and years, but he didn't feel anything. And yeah, he just he wanted to actually be free. That was his desire. So he just sat down somewhere, and in few days he became the Buddha. Not in years, not even weeks, in few days, I think, as far as I remember. So he actually did it because he just wanted it. He didn't read books. He didn't do anything. He just got tired of following these people. The what are those people called? Like the kind of people who give up everything and they just wander without having anything. I don't know if there's a word for them. Like the people who just um they don't acquire stuff,
Yeah.
or I'm
Oh,
not
it's
sure.
so close. It's like
Yeah.
and I know what you mean. I got
Okay.
you. I'm with you.
So yeah, he I guess at the time, mm, so that was the method to be free, and he did it, and it didn't work for him. Uh, but then at some point, he just he got enough. You know, that's enough. It's too much. I have to do something about it. So he did something about it. So he sat down, and in few days he became the Buddha, and he started his teaching, and the scriptures started and everything, and they started uh, to actually spread the word everywhere, and then it became something used for power, like any other thing people follow. But they teach very good things. They have very good stuff. Things that are true, very true actually. Like nothing is permanent, and all the noble truths and all that. It feels right, and they don't have anything to sell to people. Um, it's just something that people have to practice in order to be at some point, or to reach something. But I just wonder, did the Buddha, when he sat down under that tree, he started thinking about, I want to go somewhere, and uh, uh, now I have a plan. And now he started to write down some stuff, and he has his practice, or his bells that he rings, or any form of a ritual or a technique or a method or anything. No, nothing. He had nothing. And what he did, he just sat down and um, examined. I mean, obviously, I don't know what happened, but I'm just trying to say that um, following something, even if it's somehow not wrong, or if it's true, even the act of following itself is a limiting condition for, I would say, all of us. Claim that even. Um, Not because what people follow is wrong, no, because the following itself is what makes you not able to move freely. Because once I follow something, I created my boundaries. It is the path that I will just walk in or on. And those boundaries, I cannot go beyond them. This happened unconsciously. So if someone follows any faith, they will just try to know what's right, what's wrong, how should I do this, how should I do that. And if someone follows any technique, they will also have the same. How should I do this? Should I do this or not? And once people become something, they um, they they trade it off with something else. So once I follow something, it means I am not following anything else. Not necessarily, but it's just hard to find someone who practice everything. They just have to follow certain things. And once I do that, I limit myself into it. And it has to be perfect and complete, divine. If so, then I might be actually a better person. But since someone else actually made it up, or invented, or acquired somewhere from somewhere, or whatever, it's not divine. It's not by God. If people, if some people believe God exists, um, and this just starts to become a limiting condition, a factor that will always stop you from going farther. Not necessarily going farther, but just uh, um, you defined the field upon which you are standing. But if someone genuinely does not follow anything, and then they have everything, because they are not limiting themselves by anything. They are not holding anything holy. I don't need to do this posture in that way. It's not holy. It didn't come from anything holy. I can easily violate it. Why not? Just because some yogis before actually told me that I have to do it in that way, then I have to do it that way. Okay, then it is, then I have just to follow them. I just have to do it. And then I'm forced to do it. And yeah, it's this is very subtle, because if I follow something that is good, then what's wrong? And I'm not saying following something that's good is wrong. I'm just saying it will distract many people from what they truly want. And it will also create problems, because when I follow something, I'm also started to put some expectations, so that, oh, now I'm doing this. Now, people before me said that I should acquire this and that in 3, 4, 5 months, and then yeah, okay, then I need to do this, blah blah blah, etc. So in 2 years I need to do something, a progress. I need to track the progress, toward the goal that the method claimed that it will give me. So I am following something in order to get something else. So I'm following a faith to go to heaven, not to go to hell. I'm following a method to be free, not to stay in my sad life or my bad life, or even a good life, but I just don't like it, or for whatever reason, either a valid reason or not. And the method will actually make me free. So I just need to do these stuff, and then I will get to where I want to go. And then for some people, if expectations are not fulfilled, this is going to be a problem. Oh, now I wasted my time. I didn't get what I wanted. Where is it? I'm not free. It doesn't work for me. Because it's just a transaction. We give up our time, our energy to get something else. And once we see things in a transactional manner, we will never get what we wanted, because once a transaction ends, we will need a second one and a third one and a fourth one. It's hard to imagine that this cycle will stop. People will always want more. It will never end. It's like I want something that tastes good. I would like to eat more of it. And this is actually what happened to me. When I buy some chocolate and I eat the first one, I have more tendency to eat the second one. And then even the third one. And then even the fourth one. I have to stop myself. I just like chocolate. So I think, or I claim, that this is also similar. If it works, we will always want more and more and more and more. We'll never stop. And if it didn't work, oh, I did this and that, but I didn't get what I wanted. So this explains why following a method will always create a problem, or even more than one problem. Regardless of the content. It could be something very good or very bad, something healthy or not healthy. It doesn't matter. But obviously, following something good is always better. Doing something healthy is always better, for sure. But I'm just saying that I'm changing the way we look at the things. It's not the content. It's just the act itself. Yeah, so it's quite hard to get rid of it, because since our childhood we are programmed to follow something. Even for the people who don't follow, like, they don't seem to actually very I don't know, like, they are not from those kind of people who are always doing something in a very systematic way. Like, somehow they are free spirit, like they can do anything they want. They enjoying their lives to the fullest. Yeah, I just lost my chain of thoughts, actually.
Well, I think there's a big difference between following to have direction, or like to be told what to do, and following as a form of exploration, because we get our information from other people or other things, in great majority, and that's fine and that's great and that's important. I think what's most important, like you were saying, following specifically, and if you're following like a single thing, what it does, like going to a yoga class at a studio, yeah, parts of it are gonna work for you. Probably for some people, maybe all of it will work, but what the only thing that actually works is doing exploration for yourself. For maybe you commit yourself to a single method, a single religion, a single train of thought, as a form of, okay, let me try this. Let me see what works for me. Let me pick the pieces that I want. And I
Mhm.
think that that's totally fine, so long as like at some point you're going to progress to something else. If I had only ever gone to that one single studio and never started the exploration of, okay, well, what else can this practice look like? What else can it offer me? then I would be so limited because what was it, like 26, 28 poses? Those are the only poses that I would know, like in the whole world. I would only think that yoga could happen in a hot, smelly, carpeted room. And I would miss all of this. Like, there's science to it. There's like yin and restorative is now, if I have a physical practice, that's what it is. Because I don't, yes, I need to, as a human being, I would like to move my body because I feel that it's important for me and for my health.
Mhm.
And my yoga doesn't depend on it. And if I want to do a sun salutation, fine, but I don't want to, to me, the most important thing is having tried a bunch of different things to see what works for me, because I am Ariel. It's like my experience is uniquely my own. The things that benefit me are uniquely my own, and I have at times committed to, like, fully to. You're right. It's not a religion, but it's sort of like the same, like, principles of like following something that's presented to you. You are gonna set yourself up for misery if you just pick one thing. Even if you think it mostly works for you, that's really great. But you're totally right. It's wildly limiting. And I think even being able to go explore and be curious and try different things, that's almost like a muscle that you have to practice. You can't just you know, practice Bikram for 10 years and then be like, I know yoga, and I know how it's going to work for everybody.
Yeah. It's all fine, of
I
course.
think Bikram would say you can do that, but let's not take advice from him.
It's all fine. I think either for committing to something, to only one thing, or exploring stuff. Because I don't think people want to keep exploring forever. It's just like for some time until they find something that hits them. Oh, that's it. Like, oh, that's the thing now for me. So they exploring up until they find something.
Something
Which
suitable,
is,
yeah.
yeah, something, suitable, and something that fits them and fits, like, yeah, they find themselves in it. But then they will become the first type. They will commit to it, which is fine. I'm not saying it's wrong, of course. This is not from the perspective of right or wrong. There's nothing wrong with it. All right. It's just once you do it, you will do it from the point of acquiring pleasure, which is fine. I mean, we all seek to we all actually seek it, but the thing is that it's subtle. Uh, we think that we do it for something else,
Mm.
but we do it for the pleasure. I mean, there is no difference between it and the sensual pleasure. But we just don't know that, or we are too scared to face it. Um, so, yeah, I guess I said this so many times. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying uh, 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 we don't know why we actually do it. I claim, or I'm now actually claiming, that we do it for to gain more pleasure, not for the purpose that we would like to have. Uh, yeah, because we are always exploring until we find something that then then that's my thing. Then I have to follow it. Um, yeah, to help me with something, or to get something out of it, which will actually get back again for the transactional part. And yeah, I think now I remember, for the thing about actually following something. I think because we were programmed actually, or educated from childhood to follow certain things. We should behave in a certain way. There are things that we shouldn't say. There are things that we should say. There are things that society deem good to do, and the others don't. So somehow, from a very young age, uh, we are being taught to follow something, and for me, it seems like we need to make this a bit bigger. We need to follow something when we also grow up, because it adds more structure to our life. It adds meaning to it. It adds purpose. It makes us feel fulfilled. If I like to draw, I would like to draw every day because I feel good. It makes me feel good. So that it makes me, I am doing something that is meaningful for me. So if we head back to yoga, it makes more sense that people do it for the physical benefits, the physical benefits. They do it to feel good, um, and uh, uh, and the people who do it to be free, whatever that means, I claim that most of them, they do it just to feel good. And that's the big reason for me why I practice yoga so less often than before. It's probably once a month or so, not as frequent as before, because for me it's like watching a movie, something that I enjoy doing. But I caught myself lying to myself that I do it to be free, but no, I just do it because it feels good. It is a good thing to do. It makes me feel good, so I do it. But there is nothing to be free from. Um, we tend mm, to always want to follow something, um, in order to be free from something else, but mm, it doesn't seem that there is actually anything out there to be free from. It's very simple. If someone wants to do something, they do it. If they don't, then they don't do it. It's very, very, very simple. Once we get into the complexities of the mind, we got stuck some way. And so the following thing, for whatever purpose, it will always create problems, either because the expectations were not fulfilled, or even if they will be, we will always want more. So the default will be we will always want more unless it fails. And once it did, I will feel bad and sad that my further expectations were not actually fulfilled. So on both sides, there is a problem. It's not bad, but it will always drain my energy. If I'm chasing something, I will always be tired, exhausted. If I'm always thinking about my goals, expectations, at some point I will just be, it's over, fuck it. I don't want to do anything anymore. I will just be tired. So it's somehow a waste of energy on both sides. And I claim that's why following as an act is not really the best thing to do because of this. But at some point we still need some sort of structure. Like, what can I do still? Like, so yeah, then it's just becomes, well, then you have to develop your life like the Buddha did, like the first yogi ever did, when they had nothing. Assume you have nothing. What would you do? There's no methods that actually can help you. Assume that what the Buddha did and taught was only for him. That's how he saw it. Then why don't you? I mean, why don't I try to, or not even try, but do I have the same desire like the Buddha? I mean, the guy was a prince. He gave up everything. I think if I am too rich, like if I am very rich, I won't give up much of the stuff. But he was seriously looking for something. He was genuine. So he gave up everything. And so that was his life. I don't want to do the things that he did, because we are not the same. We are not living in the same era. We are not doing the same stuff. We are not having the same conditions, etc. So why would I want to practice what he taught? Why? If someone has a valid reason, please go for it. But I'm just questioning why. And yeah, then everything you do, just you actually do it. So you find your way, you find your path, you find your technique. It could be totally made up. It doesn't have to be done before. Just examine the way you tick. What is it that makes you moving somehow? And this is highly personalized, of course, and and methods are for the masses, so it is not applicable. So I would say anything I do, anything you do, should be coming from you, nobody else. So practicing yoga or any sort of meditation or anything on that spectrum will always fall short, because I am exporting it from someone else. It is not coming out from me. I am trying to be someone else. I am imitating someone else. So who the first person who did the sun salutation, I am trying to be like him or her. Maybe I will do something else, but I don't know how my body works. Yeah, but how did the yogis, maybe a couple of millennia, I don't know, and they had nothing. There was no medicine, there was no technology, nothing, and they came up with this. So somehow we now have more knowledge, we have more technology, and we follow them. I am not saying that they are wrong or we are right, or even the opposite. I'm saying they didn't need technology. They just wanted something, and it came out of them naturally and by personal experiment. So the thing is that they didn't feel the need to follow anybody else. And And now, because we know so much and we have so much stuff, that need is now so much stronger because we know so much more. So I have to ask other people to get something from them because it will shorten my path. It will make my life easier because I don't have to spend more time. Well, I could ask someone who actually did it before, and then yeah, they can give me something, then I can do it. And let's see. Then or I can try so many stuff that people did it before. It is experience seeking behavior. Um, so I am trying to always seek something to do because I need something to do. My life has to be structured, so my schedule has to be like full. I need to do stuff. So it's experiences accumulated. It will add so many stuff to our personalities, but we are not yet authentic enough like the Buddha. I claim that he is extremely normal person. I don't hold him as holy or anything at all. He is extremely, I mean, I claim that I claim that he is extremely simple person, but he just needed something. He wanted something so bad. Um and he found it. Because he was serious about it. He was genuine. He didn't need anything. He just found it. And the act of following him or any other person. I mean, I'm just saying him because he is a famous figure, and it's just example. So it could be anyone else. It doesn't have to be him, of course. It's what we do has to be from someone else. We are not doing stuff that we do. It's just, it feels like we are robots somehow. I am dressing up like this because I found myself in a place that people dress similar to this. So I'm dressing that way. And I speak in a certain way because this is the appropriate way to speak. I am doing, like, I would say everything I do is because I am trying to be like someone else. And it is a mysterious thing to me to understand what I truly want, because even the things that I truly want, I am not sure if it's me or because someone else implanted it in me. It's so contagious and hard to tell. But I claim that once we do something that is not imitated or by like, once I do something that I am not trying to do it, I just do it. I am not trying to be someone else. I am not trying to do something else. I am not trying. I just do it. Then it will feel differently. It will feel this like we don't need anything anymore. And then your guard will be down. You are not in that rushy treadmill chasing something. You are not draining your energy to do something to be perfect. You are done. You are done running. There is no more rush. You are finished. You're here. So, but the constant pursuit of something, because I want to do it in that way. I want to speak in that way. I want anything in that way. Why? Because someone else actually did it in that way. Okay, there's nothing wrong with that, but you will be always chasing something and you will be draining your energy. Go for it. There's nothing wrong with it. It just creates a problem, which is draining the energy. Either that the pleasure that you will have will be more and more and more, will never end, which is, again, nothing wrong with that, but it's just will always keep you drained, exhausted, tired, because you are always looking up into something else. And or if it fails, you will feel, oh, this is shitty, then I will actually try something else, because the things that I needed were not fulfilled. So I have to maybe try something else. And then you try something else. And then maybe it works, maybe not. And then the treadmill will never stop. You will always be on it. The pace may be different. Maybe you will walk, maybe you will run slowly, maybe you will rush, maybe you'll run very fast, but you will always be on the treadmill. Nothing wrong. It's sports, maybe, but it's just why not you would stop the treadmill and close your eyes and give it all up. Why do I need to do something that someone else did? What is it about it? Again, this will probably get back to the argument of being part of society, and I will feel that I am like anybody else, like everybody else, and I am part of the people, and we all look alike, and I am not the black sheep or the black swan or whatever this called. Although I don't like the term, but it's widely used. Yeah, but I don't like the term at all. But I want to be part of something. Maybe this is the argument. I don't know. Or I will feel I am, or I will feel that that is the standard that the society actually put. So once I hit it, now I feel I did something, achieved something. Now my life has a meaning. It's not empty. So it could be a pursuit of anything, for any type, but yeah, we will always hit a certain wall when things won't work out, and then we will do what? Then we will search for something else, and then search for something else, and it will never stop, because it's not about the goal, it's about the pleasure that comes with it. And the pleasure is like well, the thing with pleasure that it's tricky. Once it starts, we want more and more. Like greed comes in, and it even becomes trickier when we don't see it as pleasure. If we see it as meaning, fulfillment, and then it becomes better because it doesn't feel as worse as saying pleasure. So when I feel, oh, now I am achieving something, now I have meaning, or now I fulfilled something, then I will want more because it's something good. Why not? I have more of it. But it's not because the meaning, it's because the pleasure that comes from acquiring that meaning or acquiring that thing that gave you meaning. Yeah, it's actually very tricky and very subtle because I mean, I have to admit it feels very good when when someone achieves something that they think it is meaningful. It feels so good. And it doesn't feel like the sensual pleasure. It feels something differently, for sure. But it's still, it makes you feel good. So it's the same thing of the final outcome. It just wasn't sensual. I don't know, but it still makes you feel good, which means you will need more of it. This is the like, if you can hit the brakes, okay, it might not create a problem. But if I see something that is good for me and it's not bad, like I'm not hurting anyone, I am having a good time, etc., why would be the reason that I stop? Nothing. The reason will be wasting your energy because it will never stop. You will always want more. And if you see the people who pursue money or wealth or power or it will never stop. We have many examples for that. That once they start, it never stops. Although they have more than what they need, or even what they wanted at the first place, but they always want more because it feels good. It feels good to be wealthy. It feels good to be powerful. It feels good to be strong and etc. So yeah, I think that summarizes my stance about yoga and Buddhism and Zen and yeah, I mean, or any other practice that people do. And yeah, again, there's nothing wrong with that. It's actually very, very good practice. But I just want to go deeper into the some parts that I think it's hidden or subtle, or just don't seem yeah, or just like hint over them. Maybe it can help someone.
Well, as much as self-exploration is, the goal and the thing that holds the most benefit, here's one thing we can all agree on that's good for all people: following our show. Make sure you hit subscribe on whatever podcast platform you happen to find us on. You can leave us a 5-star review. You can leave a comment. We want to chat with you. Thanks for joining us, and we will see you again in 2 weeks for our next show.
Thank you all. Bye bye.